Hello friends, my name is Katie and welcome back to another video. I'm going to be doing the character superlative tag. This was created by Somberhoney, aka Danni. And if you don't know who they are, I would highly recommend going down in the description box below, clicking on their channel, and subscribing. They're a writer here on AuthorTube and super supportive in everyone's live streams, comments, and plus their Instagram is chef's kiss. Full credit to them for tagging me. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And I'm very excited. This is something that I wish I would have thought of because it's so fun and like unique. It actually inspired me to do another idea for a video that will hopefully be coming out sometime in December. But until then, let's just get on to this video. Danni did provide some superlatives, and of course I added some of my own because not all of my characters fit into the ones that were in the video. So I created my own and decided to have my little yearbook time with my characters. I'm going to be using my characters from The Wrath King simply because I know them better than I do the ones in my self-indulgent vampire novel, and I've actually talked about The Wrath King on this channel, so I could use characters from another project, but you wouldn't know anything about that project and I'd probably have to explain, and it's just easier if you go watch the All About My Novel video I made about The Wrath King. It'll give you more information about the world, but honestly, you don't need to know much about the world because they're in high school in this. Like, I'm giving them high school superlatives, and it kind of gives you an insight into their personality. So without further waffling about, let's just get started. So our first superlative is biggest flirt, and this superlative is going to have to go to Cassian. So Cassian is one of the main side characters. He's like a secondary character. He's part of a like military crew. He's with one of the main point of view characters, Ainley, for their like childhood academy friends. Found family trope is strong with that whole group of people. And the reason I picked Cassian for this is because he is literally always flirting with everyone who lives and breathes. Cassian is super flirty. He is very rambunctious. He's very much the charmer of the group. In literally the first scene that we meet him, he is charming the pants off of everyone and flirting with a whole group of girls. So he wins biggest flirt. I think that should be self-explanatory. The next one is biggest gossip, and this is going to go to Cyrus Whitestar. So you don't meet Cyrus until a quarter of the way through the book. The reason I chose him for this is because he is the chattiest of the bunch, and he is guaranteed to not be able to keep a secret. It was a tie actually between him and Cassian for biggest flirt. However, Cassian isn't much of a gossip. Cyrus is always talking so much shit all the time. Whether it's true or not, people think he's a gossiper, so Cyrus wins. Our next superlative is biggest heartbreaker, and for this one I chose Lucian Darknight. Oh, Lucian. The boy does not have any kind of emotional maturity, nor does he really think about anyone in any kind of way. However, he is very conventionally attractive. He's very passionate. He's very ambitious, and he is definitely a manipulator, so people fall in love with him, and by people I mean one particular character who he will break their heart many times over through the course of the series. Oops. He is definitely a heartbreaker because he has only one thing on his mind, and that's revenge. It's hard to let anyone in when you're constantly seeking revenge. Our next one is biggest party animal, and I struggled with this one because a lot of characters are partiers, but eventually I settled on Serene Whitestar. Now, the reason I picked Serene is because she loves to party, obviously. However, I don't know if this was the best thing to put for her, but it also felt correct. She's also an alcoholic. So she tends to end up being the life of the party, even though it's not very healthy in the way that she does it. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. Our next one is going to be the class clown, and I also struggled with this one because I don't think any of my characters are particularly like super goofy, funny, prankster kind of funny, but I did settle on Marith Ashteith. So Mare is a magic user, and the house that she belongs at specializes in illusion magic, and of course she likes to use illusions to get through the world, and she tends to use a lot of illusions on other people, which I figured would probably translate to her being quite the class clown. So that's why I chose her, because she has the means to do pranks, and also it's kind of within her character to do pranks. She doesn't play pranks in the book, but she does feel like she would be the closest one to a class clown, or at least what I know as a class clown, which was basically pranksters. Actually, funnily enough, our student body president the year that I graduated was kind of the class clown. He's the one who came up with our senior prank, which was essentially going to the main lobby area and pretending to sleep for a day. I mean, it's better than the previous year who wrote penis in spray paint on the football field. But, you know, just high school things. So our next superlative is actually one that I'm very excited to talk about because I think it's quite funny. And it is worst driver. And the winner of this is funny because no one in the books can actually drive a car because this is set in a fantasy world without automobiles. And so for this, I chose Asani Coldwater, my favorite of the immortal characters that I've created for this world. And the reason I chose her is because she is an absolute reckless mess 90% of the time, but she has only kept this fact a secret because she is so cold and sharp and like puts on this facade that she hates everyone, and when in reality she's very empathetic. However, she would be a terrible fucking driver. I would not trust her within 100-foot yard radius of a car. I mean, the woman is like 800 years old, but she definitely cannot fucking drive. Our next category is best hair. So this obviously had to go to Ainley, one of our main point of view characters. I mean, look at him. Do I have to explain? Not only is Dev Patel perfect as Ainley, he's also exactly what I imagined as Ainley. He has amazing, flowing, luscious dark locks. So Ainley. And like one of Ainley's, I guess, personality traits, quirks, whatever you want to call it, is the fact that he is very sentimental about his hair. And his beard, of course, but that felt like a weird one to put as a high school superlative. But Ainley is very, very, very emotionally attached to his hair, and so he wins this one. As you can see, not getting much about my characters or the story, but hopefully you'll get some of their personality. So our next superlative is going to be best dancer. And this one was so fun to think about because there's actually a ball scene in the book. There is a scene where people dance. So that was fun. It's kind of like, not prom, because prom is fucking lame, but if there was prom, the best dancer would go to Calder, who is also Cassian's brother. He is the best dancer because he just is. He's graceful, he's beautiful, he's wonderful. He literally could have won most of these except for best hair. That was a dumb joke, I'm sorry. Moving on. The next one is best shoulder to cry on. Oh, so sweet and so nice. And for this, I picked a surprising choice, if you know this character and you read the book, because this character I've kind of headcanoned this way, but I don't think I fully revealed that in the text, at least not in this draft. And this goes to Ciaras Nareen, and he doesn't look like he'd be a good shoulder to cry on, does he? I don't know, he's kind of scary, he's very quiet, he's very soft-spoken, so he is very much a dreamer and someone who is very soft and loving, except he's been thrust into a military environment where those qualities are not nearly as respected, where his qualities of that are often suppressed and smothered in order to survive in this military environment that he lives in. So but if he was in high school and was not in this brutal fantasy world, he would definitely be the best shoulder to cry on. And I argue even in this world, he's the best shoulder to cry on. If you know he's good for that. Our next superlative is best dressed. When we're not talking about the famous YouTuber, who I also love, but we're talking about in terms of the fantasy world, and I had to obviously give this to Alara Swan. Alara is one of our main characters' sisters, Nola Swan. She has some pretty great wardrobes, not gonna lie. She's very fashionable, she's very classy, she loves wearing dresses, gowns, such like that. In real human contemporary Earth life, she would most definitely probably end up being a fashion vlogger. She'd probably end up working in fashion because she is very, very conscious of fashion. She loves fashion. She thinks fashion is often a way to reveal things about yourself. And especially in the second book, we'll be diving more into how her fashion affects herself and how she presents herself as a specific kind of person. She becomes something at the end of the book that I can't say because spoilers. And our next category is best romance. So cute. For this, I was high-key tempted to put all of our little guy trio of Cassian, Calder, Ronan, and Ciaras, Dare, and Ainley. However, that felt like a cop-out, so instead I just picked, maybe this is a spoiler, maybe it's not. I don't think it is. We're gonna say it anyway. Who cares? It is going to be Ronan and Ciaras. Aww. I can't explain why. I can't tell you why. It just is. I want to talk about this because I think it's fun, but I can't. Because it's like a major plot point at some point. Just enjoy them. That they are. King Ronan and Ciara. Our next one is actually So random. So I originally had it most addicted to Starbucks, but since Starbucks doesn't exist in this land, it is most likely to be addicted to Starbucks, and this honor is going to have to go to Dare Crimson. And the reason is because that boy does not fucking sleep. His past is very complicated. He is a very complex character up here. He's one of my favorites. I just want to give him a hug. Looks like he could kill you and could actually kill you, but the chances of him loving coffee and like specialty coffee Starbucks drinks in the real world is extremely high. It's more likely than you think. So he wins this superlative. I also think that they would do this as a joke because it seems very opposite of his personality to like Starbucks. And to be honest, I feel like he would definitely probably be like more of like a hipster. I'm gonna only drink from like specialty coffee shops that nobody's ever fucking heard of. But he still would probably like Starbucks on the side. I have actually thought of his favorite drink, and I genuinely believe that it would be a pumpkin cold brew with cold foam, because tons of caffeine, pumpkin. I headcanon that he loves pumpkin, although I guess since I'm the author, I guess it's canon. That line's weird. Anyway, Dare Crimson wins, most likely to be addicted to Starbucks, because he's tired and needs to stay up so he can protect his friends. Our next one is most likely to start a band, and for this one, I almost again picked our 6 guys because they would definitely start a band because they're ridiculous and that's what teenage boys do. They start bands, don't they? But instead, like I said with the best bromance, definitely feels like a cop-out, so instead I went with Emryn Ashteith. She is definitely the rocker kind of chick who would start a band. Just look at her, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful. She would abso-fucking-lutely start a band. Simply because she thought it was funny and then she'd end up liking it. Also, she also uses illusion magic as well, which I think would help with the whole rock star vibes. Our next superlative is going to be most creative. And for this, I went with a very surprising pick on my part, and if you read the book you'll also be surprised, which I hope one day that you will read the book because I'm actually really proud of the book. This is gonna have to go to Ilian Darknight, and the reason it's going to Ilian is because he's actually an artist at heart. He is actually a very soft and sensitive soul, even though he tends to not put off that kind of way. Him and Asani are like 2 sides of the same coin. Ilian is much more of the tortured creative artist soul, and also in the second book you see more of that. He's a poet, so I picked him for most creative because when he's in love he writes actually pretty good poetry, which if I could ever write good poetry, although maybe it's bad poetry because I'll have to write it, but it's intended to be good poetry. My second favorite superlative behind the Starbucks one, and this is most likely to survive Game of Thrones, which is funny to me because I can see people trying to compare my book to Game of Thrones simply because it's a large fantasy with lots of politics, a lot of morally gray characters, I hope, and lots of very gory graphic things. And for this, of course, I had to choose Resli. She has the most brain cells out of anyone in this entire book, in this entire series, in this entire world, probably. She's one of our main point of view characters, and she is possibly one of my favorite characters I've ever created. So I don't have an actual picture for her, and I just want to quickly explain why, and the reason is because she has a lot of physical scars, like on her face and on her body, and this is very, very, very important to her character. And I don't want to put a face of Resli and have people think of Resli as that when that's not what she actually looks like. It is very important to her character that she is depicted as a woman who has scars and disfigurement, is actually disabled. Like, it's very important to me that she is portrayed as disabled. Obviously on the internet it's very difficult to find pictures of people who look both like Resli and how I've described her and have the same facial scars as her, so obviously I cannot pick a picture for her because I don't want you to associate her with something that she doesn't actually look like, and that's personally why I will not pick a face claim for Resli, is because of that fact, because it is part of her character, and I've seen too many times Hollywood glamorizing and making women, especially women, look better in film adaptations of books. A particular one of this is the Mortal Engines movie. The main character in that is supposed to have a really horrible facial scar, and then that like completely changes her face, and they made her more beautiful. They cut down the scar so it's much smaller, keeps most of the actress's natural beauty, and that is something that irks me. I could do an entire video on this, but just for the sake of time, that's why personally I do not want to depict my character Resli as not having those facial scars when it is so paramount to her character and who she is as a person, and obviously just she has scars, so like I want to portray them, but I can't because I can't find pictures and I'm not artistic enough in that way to draw her, essentially. So Unfortunately, all you're gonna get is this aesthetic mood board for her. Anyway, she is most likely to survive Game of Thrones because she has the most brain cells, and she is genuinely a survivor, and she would not take any shit from any man, and you can quote me on that. So our next superlative is most likely to cheat at Monopoly. Can you tell I had fun creating these? So for this superlative, I picked Ziri Coldwater. Simply picked Ziri because I think he would absolutely cheat at Monopoly, because I think he thinks games are kind of stupid, and not stupid, that sounds like bad, that sounds like he hates fun, and he doesn't hate fun, but he is the type of person to think that if you can get away with cheating, you should absolutely do, because the world is stacked against you and life isn't fair. He's not that cynical, but I think he'd also do it because he thought it was funny, especially considering that people who like Monopoly tend to like Monopoly way too much and are way over the top with it, at least the people that I know. Our next superlative is going to be most photogenic. And for our most photogenic, I have to go with our king, the Wrath King, Ronan. I mean, look at him. He's beautiful. He's perfect. I also picked him because in the book he actually gets his portrait drawn, and he's very photogenic and very beautiful. I don't know what else I can say about the topic. I mean, his picture's right here, so you can either believe me or you cannot. Our next superlative is most mysterious, and honestly, most characters on this list could absolutely fit this. However, I went with perhaps the most mysterious character that honestly you probably won't end up learning much about, because I'm just that bitch who probably won't tell you. Like in book, I probably won't tell you. And that is Ariel Dark Knight. Ariel Dark Knight is incredibly mysterious. He has a very mysterious past. He's very quiet. He does not like people talking to him. He's very much an introvert. I can't tell you much about him because, like it says on his little superlative title, he's the most mysterious, so I can't reveal and make him less mysterious, because that would defeat the entire purpose of me giving him this superlative. And last, but certainly not least, our final superlative is most likely to kick your ass. And for this, the finale of our superlatives has to go to Nola Swan. She is one of our main characters in the book. She is one of our point of view characters, and she is so badass. She's one of my favorite characters. She was my original favorite character before I actually got into writing Resley. So she is, she's a protector, she's a warrior, she's a fighter. She will definitely kick your ass if you say anything wrong, or, you know, misogynistic, racist, or homophobic. I love her so much. I wish you guys could meet her. Anyway, that is going to be it for those superlatives. So here is our final yearbook spread. These are all of the main-ish characters of the Wrath King that hopefully one day y'all will get to meet, either in real life, holding the book, which would be so freaking awesome, or as beta readers, since, spoiler alert, I'm going to be looking for betas in the new year, which terrifies me a lot. So anyway, I want to thank again somberhoney, aka Danny, for creating this tag and tagging me in it. I love this idea, and I tag you, whoever wants to do it, to do this tag. I'm really bad at actually tagging people to do things, so if you just want to do it, you certainly go ahead and do it. I will leave a link down below to somberhoney's video. I will also leave a link to the template that I created that I used to make my superlatives. It was super easy. You can use it if you want to make this video, or you cannot. It's totally up to you. Totally up to you and what you want. So if you like this video, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. It tells me that you're really enjoying this content, and I will hopefully make more in the future. That's what you're telling me. And if you want to see more of my rambling face, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button down below so you never miss when I post. I post new videos on Thursdays, and I stream on Wednesdays and Fridays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time if you want to come join some unedited rambles. Hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are, whenever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.